Hello and welcome to a football podcast with myself, Kristian Jack, and Stephen Caldwell. Today we chat about Manchester City's win against Tottenham. Yes, that other win as well that counted as a loss. Ajax against Spurs in Champions League upsets. Toronto FC's rainy night at BMO Field. The Vancouver Whitecaps, Montreal Impact, and their need for Nacho Piatti. Robert Lewandowski, is he going to Chicago?
No.
We'll talk about that a little bit more than Stephen there. MLS expansion and more. We just finished up the Whitecaps Orlando broadcast on TSN. We also finished up the Montreal Impact, and then we had some Premier League before that. We slept for about 4 hours, and we were in TFC last night.
Yep.
So if we get delirious and start saying the most ridiculous things later, it's probably because we've been working about 21 out of the last 27 hours. But that's okay. We're not here to complain. We're here to talk about football. And as ever, we've got Clay and Sean making sure that we are getting out on the air. Shawnee, how are you? Are you winning any playoff games? Did you win this week?
It was a draw today. So we advanced to the finals. I'm playing my brother next week. So, yeah. Did you ever play your brother?
I didn't, unfortunately. No, I would have kicked lumps at him if I could have played against him. But
We wouldn't have really.
I played against his team once, but I think I was injured. Burnley, Wigan. Gary played. I'm sure he did. He had a good game, and they won. Unfortunately, it was the season we got relegated. But I'd love to have played against my brother.
Well,
been weird.
Your brother's a good player, though, Shawnee.
Actually, my younger brother is a great player. My older brother is terrible, and I'm going to expose him.
Oh, you're playing against your older brother?
Yeah, my other brother.
All right, we fully expect a result next week then, a big win. By the way, are you still on the cloud 9 with Spurs this week? Because I mean,
I don't even know if I could enjoy it. It was such
tense.
Yeah.
It was such just a spectrum of emotions, and even when it was done, I was like, "What did I just see?"
Yeah.
So yeah, of course I'm in cloud 9, but still, I just didn't know how to.
I wonder how many Tottenham fans like turn the TV off when Sterling scored.
Yeah.
You know, just in disgust.
You get the Instagram videos where someone's putting their fist through the TV. Yeah. I wonder if that happened, you know?
Yeah, you know? And then you get that, oh, wait, hold on. Are you telling me there's a chance? Yes, there was a chance. Drama indeed. Let's talk about, why not? Let's talk about Manchester City, Tottenham. We could talk about the third if you want. We could talk about Man City, Tottenham, the second, whatever you want. But in the end, it's just an incredible week of drama. We did the game this morning. Saturday morning, Manchester City won, Tottenham 0. Manchester City go above Liverpool to the top of the Premier League for now. Their game in hand key midweek will be against Manchester United. But in the end, a controlled game for City. But what a week between these two teams. And, you know, you and I were apart this week, but the moment that game happened, we speak on the phone, one of the greatest games we've ever seen, no?
Yeah, it certainly was. We witnessed just an incredible football match that had absolutely everything, and two sides that were just executing their game plans. That's all I can say. And I think that City were very unlucky, but I take nothing away or no disrespect to Spurs by saying that. I just thought City were amazing. I know they won the game, but they didn't advance through, and they just took the game to Spurs all day. But they were just devastating on the break, especially in the first half, KJ, when the mistakes came. Son was unbelievable, but the pass to get it to Son, and the number of times that these tremendous sides created 1v1 opportunities and then punished the opposition, I thought was remarkable. Right. It was one of the highest levels of attacking football from two sides I've seen in a long time. I don't think the defending was that bad. I thought that there was mistakes because of the pace of the game.
I was going to say, it was a consequence.
Yeah.
The mistakes were because of what was happening.
The pressure and the pace of the game, and people being asked by two wonderful managers to play positive football. That's why the mistakes came. And then punished by great attacking football. You know, it was just the ultimate game. Normally, when I see a 4-3 game, people are waxing lyrical about it. I have a lot of criticisms because I like to see good defending as well. And with this game, I had zero criticisms. It was just a game full of quality and amazing football players. And you know, Spurs went through and they clearly played their part. But I thought City were magnificent. I said it earlier today on air on TSN. I think that Manchester City go through 18 or 19 times out of 20 with the way that they played, the way they took the game to Tottenham Hotspur. I thought they were really unfortunate, not just with that offside, but with a number of things that happened. I thought they were unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, we were talking a little bit on TSN about it. We can get certainly into it more as well here in terms of the just a remarkable overreaction from some members of the media towards Pep Guardiola's inability once again to bring a Champions League trophy back to Man City, as if like it's just available to go like buy in the store or something. You know, Pep's still not gone and bought this thing. Like it's so difficult to win, and that's why we love it, isn't it? But also the randomness of the cup competition and how things didn't go his way, and ultimately, you know, he played an enormous part in that quality of that game being so high, and I just don't understand how anybody could have looked at that and thought it was down to the failure of Pep Guardiola. I just don't get that at all. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it was one of the greatest games I've ever seen, and I think there's so many layers to it because of that. You know, and first of all, VAR was vindicated.
Yeah.
That's a great layer of it. Again, we're not talking about controversy. We're talking about the fact that it was actually, even these people, full of people out there saying that it should never have happened. And, you know, at the end of the day, try telling Tottenham that.
Yeah.
Try telling Tottenham that, oh, you know, it's okay. Aguero was only marginally offside.
I kept hearing that word, marginal.
He was only marginally offside. Well, no, the rule is in place to stop you being in an advantage. You are one of the greatest goal scorers in the world. We don't need you having an advantage. So marginally offside. Okay, can you imagine if that had been given? Like, remember, this has only been rushed in this year in this competition. We could have easily been talking about right now Manchester City winning a game, get through to the semi-finals unfairly, and Spursy coming out again. Oh, how Spursy Tottenham got screwed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that there's a layer to that. There's a layer to the Manchester City team not really having, I think, really embracing this competition enough in the past, and not really having that one clear night in the competition through 70 matches now in 8 seasons.
Yeah.
But that, I think, was it. I think they galvanized the crowd, the players, everybody was committed. It wasn't one of those nights where you can go and say, yeah, that was the City again failing in the Champions League, despite the fact they didn't get through. So I think everybody is evaluating this through the prism of who got through to the semi-final, when I think it's the complete opposite. You evaluate the performances, the game, the magnitude of the night, based on what you saw, and Tottenham just happened to be of a consequence and because of a few acts of randomness that get through.
Yeah, and you know, I'm completely neutral about this, like I am about most things, KG, and so there's a number of things that please me about the game, please me about the situation. I'm with you. Marginal's not good enough for me when it comes to offside. You're either on or you're off. Yeah. He was offside, and so VAR had a great moment, because when we're talking about a competition as prestigious as the Champions League and the vast sums of money that's given to the team that progresses and potentially wins it, we don't want it decided by the wrong decision. So I thought that was amazing. Of course, it took away from the moment when you see Pep celebrate and the feeling that you went through. But I think that if we start looking at VAR more positively and see it as adding to the drama, you know, there was another layer to the drama, the celebration, and then the dejection of Pep Guardiola. There was a moment where he was taking off his fashionable cardigan. He looked like he was suffocating by the weight and the heat or the emotion of the cardigan. It was such a poignant moment for me.
It does keep him warm, though.
Yeah, it certainly does. And he's tearing
didn't have it
off.
On today. It was a warm, sunny day, and he didn't wear it.
Maybe never wear it again after midweek.
Yeah, maybe
tearing it off his body. That was a big moment. Pochettino throwing the jacket to the ground. I'm talking about the managers more than the players, but I think the deflection, the way that the ball went to Aguero was quite ironic well. Yeah. And that the pressure trying to win the ball back, the deflection was what made him offside.
Eriksen was a lucky boy.
Yeah.
And he fronted up in his Instagram post as well.
Did
by
he?
saying that.
Right. Yeah, he was very lucky.
Thank you for VAR.
Brilliant yet again, Eriksen was for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
And the layers of the game were just there. I said earlier, incredible attacking football. Man City's width was just phenomenal, devastating, causing Spurs all sorts of problems. And then the way that they counter-attacked and Son's performance and Son's evolution from being a very good player, playing for Bayer Leverkusen, to an exceptional Premier League player, to, in my opinion now, a world-class player, a player that could demand 100+ million if he's ever going to leave Tottenham Hotspur. Just ruthless, exceptional finisher, work rate, got everything to his game, gets better and better under a manager who develops good players into very good players into great players, and great players into absolutely exceptional world-class players. There's nobody like him. and developing players. And I think that, like I said at the start of this, even though I was neutral, I had a warm feeling that Pochettino was successful and that Spurs went through. I think they deserve that. I think the squad deserves that. And I think eventually this squad will probably break up and he might leave, and I think they deserve that moment, and they've got as good a chance as anybody now.
They do. We'll get to that later on the prospects of that and also Son's future. And Pochettino said, regardless of what happens now, just reaching the semi-final for a football club like Tottenham, what kind of reference point that can bring for them going forward is just absolutely incredible. And you think about the journey they've been on, by the way, they didn't win any of their first 3 group games. You know, you think about the disaster at Inter Milan, you know, when they conceded 2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
Tough group as well.
Tough group, which I think maybe helped them as well. And maybe a repeat against Barcelona in the final, you know, who were in the same group. So that would be not the last, by the way, not the first or the last time that 2 teams have had a group game and then met in the final. It happens quite a lot. But let's get into how that had a ramification on the group game. And I want to talk the group game, the league game, and I want to talk about wide areas. So City's 3 of their 4 goals Wednesday night, pretty much very similar wide areas. The opposing fullback, very often Ben Davis, I think occasionally, was it mainly Ben Davis on Trippier, 2 of the 3 and Trippier on the 1, all faced the same dilemma every time. So, you know, they had the wide areas and they couldn't necessarily, we talk about that a little bit tactically on TSM, and then against them today, and they went to a back 5. And they went to a 5, but they still had a similar issue on the one determined moment of the game, which was the eventual header by Foden.
It's a really precise tactical play by Manchester City, and it comes from hours and hours on the training ground, and you know, the high level of tactical awareness that Pep Guardiola has, it puts into his teams. They create the width by allowing that central midfield player, whether it be De Bruyne or David Silva or Gundogan sometimes in that area, but Foden it was today, he goes really high and he activates the central defenders, thus needing a fullback to tuck in, and eventually they move the ball so quickly and so well that it creates a 1v1 situation, and it was destroying Spurs in wide areas in the Champions League game. And so they went to the 5, like you said, KJ, to try and create more width defensively, so there was less gaps for people to run through, or for Spurs to have to come extremely narrow. And in the end, I should say at the start, it didn't even really matter because they moved the ball so well, and it just creates these dilemmas, these 2v1 situations, these decisions for the defenders to make. I know what that's like, having to make quick decisions against world-class players. It's almost impossible.
Right.
It's what's the lesser of 2 evils? They tuck in. You've seen Rose for Bernardo Silva's goal, where he tucks right in so narrow because he knows that De Bruyne is in such a dangerous position, and we're always told as defenders, defend the middle of the park. That's where it's easiest to score. So you naturally are inclined to come inside. The ball goes out to Bernardo Silva, and he gets a little deflected goal, in the back of the net past Lloris, and they're brilliant at doing it. They're coached really well. Pep's he looks like a coach that allows free-flowing football, because that's how it comes out in the end. But he's a very precise coach from what I've read and what I've saw and heard from players that have played under him. He wants people to be in specific spots because he understands the game so well that he knows that means a real decision for players to make. And then what happens is the opposition get caught really in between positions, and the quality of player that he usually has at his disposal means that you can then play through that team. It's very precise, and it's amazing to watch when it works.
It is, and I think it's probably now, is it not the biggest tactical evolution of the past 5 years? What do you say? Or maybe even less than that.
Yeah.
What we're seeing right now, I think sometimes we often wait for time to go by and have history to reflect on, when very often we can reflect on the present. Like what we're seeing right now, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, Eden Hazard, the 2 Liverpool boys, in Salah and Mane, arguably the finest wide players in the game that are all happening at the highest level in the Premier League, and they've changed the game. These are the best wide players I think I've ever seen in my life. Consistently. They're no longer, when I was younger or when you played a lot of time, I'm sure, the natural winger who would get the ball and want to go to the byline. It was always going outside of the fullback. A lot of it now is coming inside of the fullback, and also they have an ability to finish the ball off and put it in the back of the net, just like a number 9.
Yeah, they're like, they think like strikers, don't they? They want their goals. They want to be ruthless and selfish almost. Whereas our idea of a winger was a guy who, like you said, went down the wing and put it into the box for the Alan Shearer, Les Ferdinand, whoever to put the ball in the back of the net. Now these guys, they want to get into the back post. They want to cut inside and hit one with their strong or their weak foot. They're there to score goals. Back to Pep a little bit. I think this started at Bayern Munich. You know, we saw a Barcelona team that was exceptional, but it was down the middle of the park with Messi and Xavi and Iniesta. But this, when he got to Bayern Munich, he recognised that Ribery and Robin particularly were at the absolute prime of their careers, and he had such intelligent fullbacks that they could tuck inside, and that's when we first started to see the inverted fullbacks. Why did they tuck inside? So that they got a team really narrow, and it created 1v1s in wide areas, and your best players were in wide areas. You didn't want Robin and Ribery to work like a conventional winger where you're running 60-70 yards, taking away vital attacking energy coming back. So he created a system where these fullbacks came in, they clogged up the middle of the park, and then the exit ball was to the wide guys, and they devastated them like that. This has went on to another level with the way that he's playing. His tactical brain has moved his ideology onto that other level where he's getting into these guys higher up with space and time to attack in. It's phenomenal to watch, isn't it? And he's made real superstars of. Sonny's still a bit of a work in progress. I still think that he has mental issues of really listening into what Pep's asking for. But the development in Sterling, he's making a superstar out of Raheem Sterling. Yeah. And Bernardo Silva, who was an excellent player, but is now again becoming a world-class player because his consistency is remarkable. They've got Pep to thank a lot for that.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva, one of 6 players who were nominated in terms of the top 6 players, player of the year in the Premier League that was announced this morning. Yeah. And I'm sure will be one of the top 10 players in our top 50 that will come up very soon as well.
I've started that you
need to start working on very soon. Steven started it. He's got a notebook at home and he's just wrote Sterling and Van Dijk on it so far. But 48 more to go. You've got a few more weeks. Before we get on to our next game in Toronto FC, I suppose the last question on this is, what are the ramifications for the title race? Because I felt that you and I both had a very strong feeling that Spurs could do this.
Yeah.
But I think we also felt that if Spurs were going to do this, City were going to do the league.
Yeah.
I don't think we felt that this team was going to, I don't want to use the word bottle it because that doesn't
lose both.
Lose. I don't think it just didn't feel like it. And we said all along, well, I certainly did, Palace game, Tottenham game, Manchester United game, win them 3.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be in a massive position with what's to follow. And it's coming down to that game Wednesday, but I have to say the way City played today made me get even more assured that it looks like it's probably going to be 4 out of 4 for them to go. I think it'll get to a point now, let's say, that it'll be a massive shock if they didn't.
Yeah, it'd be a big shock. They would need to drop points in a game that we don't expect them to. I think that when we're talking about winning, it's really all about winning. But this team are so close in every area. It would be a shame. And I'm nothing away from Liverpool. They're pushing them extremely close. But the criticism that would come Pep Guardiola's way would be unjust, because
of course it would.
When you get that close in games of this magnitude, it's fine margins, and they're in another fight for the Premier League where it's going to come down to that. And again, it's going to be a team that's going to get, 2 teams are going to get 90 plus points. So someone's got to lose. Unfortunately, there was a year Celtic went to UEFA Cup final. I think it was 02 or something like that, 02 or 03, and they lost the UEFA Cup final to Porto, and then they lost the league. They won 9-0, I think, at Kilmarnock, and they lost the league to Rangers, and so they won nothing.
Yeah. But
they were one of the best Celtic sides in the last 25-30 years. And this is something similar to that on an even greater level, where you've got a team who are absolutely exceptional, who might potentially lose out on the 2 big trophies. And that's testament to the teams that they're playing against, the level that football's got to. The fact that Pep Guardiola has played into that, KJ, he's created this level of the game in English football, because let's face it, an English team beat them in the Champions League, and an even better English team are competing with him for the Premier League, he's asked everybody to be better. He's challenged some of the most historic and best clubs to go and spend more and be smarter and recruit better managers and really try and stay and hold on to coattails, and that's what he's brought. That'll be his legacy for English football, in my opinion, and for Manchester City, his legacy is still being developed. We'll see what that means in terms of trophies, but for English football, he'll certainly have a chapter in what it means to the game.
Yeah, he will. And as the great Xavi Hernandez predicted, Pep Guardiola will be the one who could change English football.
Yeah, that's
and
what we're saying there.
That's what we said. Yeah, no doubt about it. And a reminder that it is Manchester United away, Burnley away, Leicester at home, and Brighton away are the 4 games to come for Manchester City. Let's come back to domestic stuff now. And we were both at a very rainy and very cold BMO Field on Friday night. I say we're all, no, me and you, Shawnee didn't go, I don't think. Sean,
never
right?
made it. No, fair weather fan.
I got a jinx. There you go. I thought you were bigger than a fair weather fan, mate. To be fair, I just presumed you would be in the South End. But you know what? All your mates listening to this, I'm sure, won't remind you of that at all this week. You know that you're a big time TFC fan. But anyway, we were there, mate. Yep. We were there, and ultimately, it was a strange match.
Very strange.
I'm not quite sure why we can start with this. Like in a 4-3 game, usually you'd talk about it being an amazing game. Well, look, we just did Man City Spurs.
Yeah.
This was not an amazing game. This was a very different 4-3. A lot of layers to get into this from a different aspect. But in the end, I think we should start perhaps in TFC's ability to win a game again that looked like was lost.
Yeah. We sit here before games and we try and predict, don't we? We try and think what we're going to see.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
No.
I'm not talking about the goals. I'm just talking about the way the game went. TFC sitting back, 11 behind the ball.
I got the Quintero bingo penalty call.
Yeah, you did. You called that before the game. Good shout. But I didn't. I thought Minnesota would sit back and try and hit in the break.
Opposite.
TFC were defending for long periods of that game. So it's certainly in the first half, just sitting back. Putswell and Altidore trying to get behind the ball. 2 banks of 4. Really strange tactics. I didn't expect it, and it allowed Minnesota. I may be doing them a bit of a disservice because they played good football, but TFC really played into that game plan. They came back to the 18-yard box and Minnesota dominated the ball, played some really good football. Rodriguez was excellent up front. Quintero was finding space between the lines even though they were dropping back, which tells you about the vulnerabilities of their defensive shape.
Probably his best game this season.
He was excellent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like Quintero last season when he was devastating when he first got there. He looked like he had the bit between his teeth and he was really up for it.
Yeah.
I thought he was brilliant, and the width from Metanire, who looks like a great pickup from Minnesota, in the right back row, the Frenchman was excellent as well. Finlay was smart. They were dominating the game, and it was 1-0. In my opinion, it was comfortable for Minnesota. One clearance, and 1 minute and 10 seconds later, or add another 10 for Putswell to put the first one in, and it's 2-1 through just sheer magic from the designated player. It came out of nothing, didn't it? It was just like a game that was really going in Minnesota's favour. Putswell with one breakaway just changed the whole complexion, and his second goal was ruthless, devastating finish, and all of a sudden we were off to the races. But it became strange yet again, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And, like I said, there's lots of layers to get into this. First of all, you say strange again. I think we need to mention it in case I forget. So they're up 2-1, and already they've been up 2-1 this season against Chicago and up 2-1 against New England and given away leads. Top teams don't give away leads up 2-1, mate. 3 times already. Yeah. Now, they may well prove to be a top team.
At home as well.
Eastern Conference looks really weak. I think that needs to be talked about. But look, they've clearly got one of the greatest players in the league in Alejandro Pozuelo, who can score, I think, more goals than a lot of people thought he could in Major League Soccer. Yeah. Based on his goal scoring record was moderate, but not what we expected. I mean, he looks like a player who might get you 15 to 20 goals. Yeah. That's how good he looks. And we did a lot of work this week. We showed some video in the pregame show about his combination with Altidore. I spoke to Josie about that this week. But I did feel like his goals came at crucial times. I was down in the sidelines. You could see that the TFC got some confidence. The nerves went away a little bit, and Minnesota got edgy. So that's the thing. We can talk about the tactics all we want, but when you've got a game breaker like that to score the goals as he did, that does help TFC.
Yeah.
It definitely helped them in the first half, despite what I've just said and giving away the lead in the second half. I think that those goals even though they are moments of magic, I don't think you can be relying on them all the time. That's my point.
No, you can't rely on them all the time. It's okay against a team who are defensively vulnerable like Minnesota, but if you're playing against one of the best teams in the league, the Seattles, the LAFCs of the league, you're going to find it difficult to come back. The game would have been done and beyond you by that point, KJ. But back to the confidence that you said that it builds in the team. When you have a player that exceptional and that sort of above the level, you see him do something like he did for the first goal, where he just breaks. He never stops running with pace. I think that was crucial. And when it's a 2v2 with Altidore and Pozuelo, I'd back them against every defence in the league, any partnership in the league. And he comes back inside, puts it in the back of the net, and like I said, it's 2-1 right away, and all of a sudden their confidence grew, and I thought, okay, they're going to go on now. I really thought at that point, don't know what you thought, I thought they were going to go on and win 3 or 4 probably, with a setback that would have given Minnesota mentally. And then they come out for the second half and it was just flat again. Ended up defending for long periods again.
Same again as Chicago.
Yeah.
Same again as New England.
Yeah.
Same again. Same again. I think there's an alarming lack of technicians in the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Minnesota have more technicians, I think, than TFC. Yeah. And I think that allowed them to dictate the play early in the game. And I guess this comes back down to midfield. I'm watching the game and it's 1-0 and I'm thinking, how are you going to get Pozuelo in the game? He got himself in the game.
Yeah.
He proved me wrong. And, it would easy, if I'd come on the TV and said that, which I didn't get it in the end, I wasn't able to get on.
Yeah.
But if I was doing your job, I probably would have said it.
Yeah.
And I would have been made to look like a fool.
Yeah.
But that's the game and that's the opinions. That's what we're in. We don't care about how we look.
No.
But I'm talking about genuinely. How do you get him in the game? As they were defending for large periods, they're playing, it's basically 4-4-2, mate.
Yeah.
It's 4-4-2 with Osorio as a left winger. That's how they do it. Pozuelo's he's playing higher than he ever played. I saw him play at Genk.
Yeah.
He's like at Genk, he played there occasionally. Midfielder 4-3-3, a bit more balance to the team, a bit more what we thought TFC would have. And again, I've used that word. It's an unbalanced squad for me. And I think that's a concern going forward, because we can talk about defensive issues if we want, and we can do that here if you like. I mean, Greg Vanny told us that he spent the week showing his defenders some clips not to be as aggressive, used Atletico Madrid as video clips as well. He's showing them some of the greatest defenders in the world, how you can give them a little bit more space. You can speak to this way more than I can ever. You don't be aggressive. Mavinga's aggressive, gives away the penalty. But those are moments in boxes, Pozuelo, Mavinga, we can all get into. But I want to get into the other bit in between the boxes, and that's dictating the play. And I think that if that doesn't improve, then they're going to give up leads and they're going to struggle to truly control games like the best teams in MLS.
Yeah. It's hard to be critical of one player over another, but the balance is not really there. You have Bradley pretty deep at times, too deep in my opinion. I keep saying it sound like a broken down record, but he is too deep, and so he's not really dictating the play. He's playing like a central defender who steps forward and then doesn't defend, and his partner at the moment is Marky Delgado, and he's just not good enough on the ball. You look at some of the midfields around MLS now, the quality that they have, the players that can dictate the play and the tempo of the play, the possession, are better players than Marky Delgado, and so I think he's in the wrong role there. I think that if TFC really want to win MLS Cup, Delgado to me is a player who plays sometimes in different formations, but he doesn't play in your best team. I think Osorio should come back into that area, and they go and get another player to play in Osorio's position, who can probably possess the ball a little bit better. And
possess the ball a little better, but also what I would use the word sustain attacks.
Yeah.
Because then when you go into the final third or you press or you have the ball, if you lose it, it's about getting it back.
Yeah.
And when they lose it, they don't have the technicians to sustain it.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's the way that they sort of box a team in is off. You know, none of them think like defenders. None of them. Alro, Larea, midfielder Larea, fair enough, but he's playing right back, doesn't think like a defender. Alro's a right back, wants to go forward. Mavinga and Simon want to step into things, wonderful on the ball, don't think like defenders. Justin Morrow's a left back / left winger. He can defend, but he doesn't think like a defender. Bradley's the same. So we could go on and on about their entire team. None of them, there's not one guy in that part when Drew Moore's not there going like, okay, like I used to think, what's going to happen here if the negative guy, okay, this might break down, this might happen here. What I was good at was you go there, you stay back there, getting everybody in position for what might happen from a team on the ball, and then being counter-attacked or giving the ball away. So the spacing's better by someone organising that, 2 or 3 people. They don't have that in the team when Drew Moore's not playing. Michael Bradley doesn't think like that. He likes to come deep to get on the ball, to dictate the play. When he's playing well, he's a massive part of that. But there's not enough players round about him. And MLS 2019 is better than MLS 2018. It's better than MLS 2017. And it's going to keep getting better. You look at the recruitment from players from all over. Atuesta, Mark Anthony Kay, Beckerman and Everton, Salt Lake.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, we could go on and on. Svensson and Roldan.
Ilya Sanchez and Sporting Kansas City.
Yes.
So many of them.
They're all over. There's players getting, the recruitment's getting better. We're getting better and better quality standard of players in the middle of the park who dictate the tempo and the pace of the game. And TFC are just a little bit wanting in that area, in my opinion, at the moment.
Yeah. And look, those are crucial areas that we believe they need to look at to go forward. They're clearly going to score goals. They're now averaging 3 goals per game.
Yeah.
3 goals per game. It's absolutely remarkable. They're going to outscore goals teams for fun.
Yeah.
But sustain, and I think that's the word I keep using, to sustain the attack, to sustain the success, the overriding factors to control the game and not just rely on individual moments of brilliance. I think those are important. As ever, we ask for your comments, and there's many. #AskAFP. We read them all, and we do really appreciate you listening and all your feedback. Trevor asked us on that tactic, does it make sense to swap positions for De Leon and Larea? De Leon's movement is great, but Larea is more offensive. I don't think Larea is going to play as much, particularly with Arrow back. Yeah. And De Leon is a decent fullback, but I think it's clear, hearing a few things and watching him play, that his attacking juices are better when he's further up the field.
Yeah, I think that when Arrow's injured, Larea's a pretty good replacement from an attacking sense, somewhat similar. I could see Larea becoming quite a decent right back, but he'll never really think defensively. So I would be inclined to play De Leon. I think in terms of power and sort of tactical sense, I think De Leon might be a decent option at right back. But they should have an out-and-out right back. They have Arrow, who loves going forward, but they should have another defensive right back.
Let's be honest.
Tell us your opinion.
Van der Weel was never replaced.
No, but you would quite like Seaman, and
Seaman's a right
area.
back. Yeah, I'd play him at right back.
Yeah, so maybe that's an option. That there's a bit more solid TFC when they go to one of the more difficult away grounds. Simon at right back, Moore, Mavinga, and Morrow. It's pretty solid back four.
Your fullbacks don't get as high as they used to. This is not a 3-5-2 where they played a lot when they won the MLS Cup, or even when they got to the final. They're not getting as high as they used to. Even Arrow, when he first came in, people thought, "Oh, this is great. He's our guy who can bombard down the right touch line, and he can be the guy." He's not even getting forward that often. Like Lawrence Seaman can do that position in his sleep. Yeah, in my opinion. If in some areas, I would have him right back, and I'd have Drew Moore, and I'd have Mavinga play them all together as a right, and Justin Morrow, and that could be a really good back four.
Yeah, it really could be, and I think that part of Greg Vanny's plan is to try and have them that little bit deeper so that he can draw a team out a little bit. I think he didn't expect Minnesota United to come in and take the game to them so much. He thought he was going to have to entice them out, and I guess a few teams will come to BMO and play like that. We've been saying for a while now that is the wrong tactics against TFC.
It is.
Minnesota United have proved that. If their defending wasn't absolutely abysmal on Friday night, they would have won the game. It was abysmal. It really was. They would have won the game comfortably because they went on the front foot. They took the game to TFC.
I don't think Adrian Heath could believe they lost.
They couldn't
last night. Justin asks, and thank you for the question, does Jordan Hamilton's performance this season cement his place replacing Josie while injured? Does he have the advantage over Akinola? I'm not sure he has the advantage over Akinola. I would say that right now, Akinola scored already this year as well. They're pretty much in a dead heat, but significantly, if there's a race going on, Altidor's like well ahead.
Yeah.
These lads are halfway around the track, and Terence Boyd's getting his shoes on, isn't he?
he's behind
What's going on
for
there?
Sure. Yeah, that was.
He's not on the race. He's not even on the track, is he?
He's not, and I don't know. It's a pretty unfortunate social media post the other day where the poor lad got megged twice in the boxes in quick succession.
The training,
lying flat on the ground. Yeah, he's had a tough start to his TFC career. I think Hamilton's in the lead. Only because Akinola still got a long way to develop before he's like a number 9 who can lead the line, in my opinion. He's a good player, excellent player, and he can play different positions, probably more positions than Jordan Hamilton. But if Josie's going to be out, especially after the 2 goals, Hamilton's going to get a chance. The issue is that Greg Vanny doesn't trust Jordan Hamilton, and rightly so. Jordan Hamilton's not done it consistently enough. He's going to have to prove it consistently enough. Now, is it him proving it, or is it Greg Vanny giving them a chance and giving them a sustained chance if Josie is going to be out for a few games? Who knows? But we need to keep an eye on that one, because there's not a really solid replacement there, is there?
They haven't replaced. I guess they have replaced Javinko, but it's like you can't have it all. Like they had Javinko and Vasquez, and Van der Weel, and I know that they're working things out and they're still trying to get players in, but they haven't replaced them all, have they?
No, they've not replaced.
Imagine if Altidore gets out for a while, they're going to be in a right mess, aren't they?
Yeah, because they replaced Vasquez and Javinko with Pozzuelo. They replaced 2 players with a hybrid one. We've already spoken about how good he is, but
with maybe one to come.
Yeah. They need that one though. They need it to come pretty soon, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Anything else TFC wise before we move on? I know Altidore's comments made a lot of news after the game. I don't know whether you want to go there or not, but at the end of the day,
well, the only thing I've got to say in it is that I can see why he's frustrated and he's angry. There's ways to go about it, and I just don't think he did it the right way. And you can't call out a president. It's at the end of the day, he's your boss. He's in charge of the club. I expect a reaction from TFC because nobody's bigger than the club. The old statement comes into play, and he needs to be reprimanded for it. And he's a strong character, Josie, and it's the way that he plays, and it's part of what makes him great. But you just can't come out after a game, especially after what happened with his injury, and call it a president like that.
It was a bit soap opera, wasn't it?
It was.
It's like Chris Finch calling out David Brent a little bit. I mean,
Finchy,
you know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure Bill Manning will not want the perception of him being David Brent. So we'll just leave it there. Whitecaps Orlando. Whitecaps also played LAFC this week. 2 games in around 4 days. Both ending 1-0. 1-0 against LAFC at home, and 1-0 away to Orlando with an 88th minute loss to, I think Nani got the deflection. He was given the goal in the end. Sasha Klesch didn't give a shot in, but it was given to Nani. So funny how the game works sometimes. I think if you'd offered Mark Dos Santos 2 1-0s at the start of the week, he would have probably gone, okay, that'll be fine. LAFC's tough. We'll beat Orlando 1-0. But it didn't work out that way. It worked out the opposite way. LAFC looked a little bit uninterested. Bob Bradley very critical of the field after the game in Vancouver that you were at. And then probably did enough to get a point in Orlando. They certainly should have scored. Inbom had a chance about 7 or 8 minutes prior to that, a golden opportunity. A cagey game, not a wide open game, but very much a game they should have got something from. But in the end, 88th minute, they get nothing. So an up and down week for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, up and down. First of all, BC Place, Wednesday night, excellent performance. Really nothing to lose. And it was the first time we saw them play pretty free, and we started to see examples of the football that Mark Dos Santos has been telling us about. That's what's coming for the Whitecaps. I was impressed. I thought they got anxious. Obviously so, they need that victory, but they got a bit deep and tried to defend and see the game out, which they just about did. They got the 1-0 win, the 3 points. Big for the club, big for Mark Dos Santos, and hoping that they were going to build on that, Casey, and go into an environment in Orlando where they can... I don't think Orlando are a particularly good team, so I thought it was a chance for them to go again and express themselves and be positive. But unfortunately, we started to see the first 6 games of Vancouver Whitecaps where it was a bit tentative, a bit boring, if it has to be said, and lack of cohesion from an attacking point of view. And when you play like that, a game they probably should have got a point from, you run the risk of losing a late goal, which is what happened. And fortune favours the brave. A team that are brave, that get bodies forward, that try and play with attacking football. I think all in all, fortune favours that team. Fortune gives them, or fate gives them the benefit of little things. And when you sit back and you just kind of hope that things happen. That's what happens. The deflected goal goes in the back of the net.
Couple of observations for me. Reina and Montero together, I liked. I think it gets Reina in the game a little bit. I think both of them have far too much of an ability to drift out of games for far too longer periods, and this keeps them interested. In fact, Reina was often more of attack-minded than Montero, like leading the line, pushing the defenders back with his pace. Montero operating in the space a little bit more. They did play a 5-3-2, so keep an eye on that, whether that will be continuing. The other thing I would say is that, again, they lacked possession against the team. They continue to get out-possessed by teams when they came out with guns a-blazing with ideas at the start. Now, I think it's important to note that I don't necessarily think that's an indictment on the manager.
No.
I think it's clear that he still wants to see him play. And I thought in moments today where Orlando put pressure on them, they tried to play the way out of trouble. And that says everything about the way they're trying to change the style. For me, it's just down to talent.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever you want and bring all the qualities you want about how we want to play the game. But at the end of the day, you come up against a better team, and they're not necessarily an amazing team, Orlando, but in some areas they've got better players. Yeah. They could keep the ball a little bit more. I mean, they brought Sacha Kljestan on, like, you know, a quality player on a lot of money, even though he's not been playing well. You know, in the end, I thought they just had, they lacked that quality to keep the ball, you know, and then that might be that's what we're going to get used to this year. I still think there's going to be, you know, better moments to come, but do you know where I'm going with this?
I know where you're going. I'm going to try and answer it what I think is disappointing in that, yeah, you're right, they probably don't have the talent that can play the type of football that he wants, but we're not seeing them lose goals by that talent being brave and giving the ball away in dangerous areas and then being punished. We're seeing that talent be reluctant to play the football. That would concern me if I was Mark Dos Santos, because I'm thinking back to maybe my time at Wigan or something like that, where we played a lot of great football and we weren't that talented and we were always down near the bottom of the Premier League. I was only there a year, but I watched them closely. My brother was there longer. But every player that came under Roberto's reign understood what kind of football he wanted, and it was either play that kind of football or pack your bags and go and play somewhere else. So if you don't want to get the ball off the goalkeeper from a goal kick, and you don't want to be a centre half who can put his foot in the ball and wait for people to come at him, you're not going to play for his team. And so I'm wondering when that'll happen, because I think it will happen with Mark Dos Santos. I think he will ask people to play that type of football, and I think at the moment he's still dealing with players with fixed mindsets who know their limits.
Benefits the doubt, is he not, a little bit?
He is giving them benefit of the doubt. He's asking who wants to come along in this journey. Yeah. He's testing the ones who want to grow and learn and buy in, basically. And at the moment, he's having a little bit of a battle because even though his keeper, for example, Kripo, has been magnificent, he was particularly angry with him the week before because he wouldn't play the ball out against Chicago from the back.
Right.
He wanted more. And so that's what I'm saying. He's got this fight with these fixed mindsets, these players that have played a certain way because someone's told a certain centre half or full back or goalkeeper, don't take chances, don't play the ball there. This is tough. When you've been told that for 15 years or 12 years or however long it's been, it's tough to change quickly. The ones that are going to change will be along in this journey. The ones that are going to stick in that fixed mindset and they're going to just play the percentages and lump it forward or kick it out of the park, I don't think he'll be along in it. I think Mark Dos Santos will move them on eventually.
Yeah, I agree. The ones that are going to change are players, not him.
Yeah.
For a young manager in his first major job, he's very confident.
He is.
He's also very honest.
He'll stick to it.
He'll stick to it and he'll tell you, will he not?
Yeah.
Final question before we move to Sonny. Marcus asks, is the door open for McMath to win the job? Or at this point, is it just rotation? What we know on the record is apparently it's just rotation right now. We're going to see more and more games coming thick and fast, opportunities. But let's be honest, this is still a wide open battle.
Yeah, it's a wide open battle. It's been a terrific start to regular MLS football for Max Kripo. But you have Zach McMath, who's a solid goalkeeper there. He's played a number of games in MLS. So I think this is a bit of a fight. Like I say, I think Kripo's been magnificent, but it has to continue to be that good. Otherwise, you know you've got McMath sitting there and more than capable. Pretty solid game today, again, from him. And like I just said, it may come down to the ball at the feet, different things to the game, experience, demanding things, leadership, Max Crepeau is probably a little bit behind Zach McMath in that regard at the moment, KJ. So Crepeau has to evolve, his game has to get better, he has to show his manager that he's going to be a regular starter, make saves, of course, one of the most important things, but also dominate from the back and be a leader as a goalkeeper.
And Crepeau won the job because they had a terrific pre-season, and Mark Dos Santos saw at that moment he needed people to buy in, and he brought that, and he was very quick to buy in, and every credit. So, but yeah, still an open competition, much like the TFC goalkeeper one as well, which we haven't addressed this week, but we did a lot. But much like that, with very much of an open competition with a rotation to come, I guess, in the next few games as well.
Moving on to headlines, Montreal Impact fell to the Philadelphia Union 3-0. In the last 5 matches without Ignacio Piatti, the Impact have only scored 2 goals. Is this due to Nacho not being in the lineup, or are they tactically too safe?
Do you want to start this one, mate?
I will do. They're missing Ignacio Piatti as a tremendous football player. They're also missing Ignacio Piatti, the captain. A guy who insists on the way football gets played by that team, who buys into the counter-attack style, but makes sure they play and pass in a way that he gets the service and the ball at his feet in dangerous areas. And from what I saw Saturday against Philadelphia Union, it was a really disjointed attacking display. They tried to play it too quickly into forward areas. It didn't work. There was no passing through the lines. There was very few very good attacking moments where they were sort of cohesive as a group and they played little combinations. Maybe at the start of the second half was the only time that I saw that. So you're always going to miss Piatti's ability to score goals and to create goals, but I think they're missing his leadership as well, KJ, when they play football. I
completely agree. Great point. The other thing that they have is that if they give away a goal like they did today, the 1-0 goal with Lovitz, the way they set up, it's an enormous climb back. The 1-0 deficit feels bigger. You know, I know they've got that one goal and that one win against San Jose, the first game of the season, where they did win a game from behind, but they're not going to. The record from when they go behind over the last few years has been terrible with Piatti. So when you not got him on the field, the other thing is this weekly segment. I keep talking about MLS 1 and MLS 2 again, but like they had Alejandro Silva.
Yeah.
And they let him go, $4 million. And they didn't really replace him. Now, they think they've replaced him now. But right now, we've had a lot of games away from home already, and they played Okonkwo, and they played Navio. And they're very inexperienced / young / going to make mistakes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Now, they brought a new guy in. We don't know his name because we do know his name. We do know his name. So this is Omar Brownie.
What you calling him?
We've been told to call him Omar Brownie.
Yeah.
So Omar Brownie is the guy who's...
But I've already called him Brown for 2 games.
I'm sorry, it's really difficult. It's Omar Brown, but we have to do what we're told.
Right.
Omar Brownie has been bought, and he's got to be the guy, no?
Yeah.
Because he can do that kind of stuff.
He can do that kind of stuff. Now, we've saw him play 2 games, a bit of highlights in the preparation to the games, a couple of half-decent performances on the back of that in the next round against KC.
Yeah, that's true.
And he does have ability, no doubt about it.
Pace, good on transition.
But what I'm saying is he's playing in the Panamanian League, so it's going to be a big step up for this lad.
Right.
Is he capable of stepping up 1, 2, 3 levels maybe to be a consistent performer in MLS for the Montreal Impact? I'm not so sure. I like what I've saw from the early stages. So again, you talk about it, KJ. Alejandro Silva left. They got a decent amount of money, but he was a quality player.
He's an MLS 1 player, mate.
Exactly.
Is this guy an MLS 1 player? Looks like an MLS 2 player. Sorry.
We don't know, do we? We don't think so, you know?
I hope I'm wrong. But...
So they are, but I'm with you. Like we've not seen enough to suggest that he's capable of consistently performing like that. And we can say the same for Okonkwo, who has his moments. I like a lot about his game, but he's not consistent enough. Navila looks the exact same. Then you've got a bunch of academy guys. Schwanier, again, he's going to develop. Shom's more of a midfielder, I know, but Bayer, we're seeing guys...
They're affecting Urruti a little bit now, who hasn't scored yet over 500 minutes because he's not playing with tremendous quality. Like, I guarantee you, if Piatti's in the game playing every week, Urruti's got a goal by now.
He's got a goal because he gets the service. Now Urruti's having to roam around everywhere to try and get the ball, and he's a very honest player, Maxi Urruti, but he's taking himself out of dangerous positions because he's doing too much work to try and get the ball back for the team, chasing down lost causes because they're not playing through the lines, like I said, not playing a passing style. They were always a counter-attacking team, but they played really incisive vertical passes to get into good areas. They never once lumped it forward and Piatti run onto a ball, won it back and put it in the top corner.
Very rarely.
It was always that exit pass from a defensive shape that was very good. I never saw any signs of that today, KJ. So I am worried about them without Piatti, and I think that to me it's more of his leadership demanding the way that this team plays than actually even his ability.
The Champions League semi-finals are set. Any final words you want to share about the quarterfinals before we move into the semis?
Well, our friend Stephen Caldwell's a bit of a prediction king. I'm just going to share that right now. Right now, he's top of the table in former pros in our Premier League predictions pool. Peter Beardsley is had a good week this week, but Stephen Caldwell, let's be honest, at this point, it'd be a colossal collapse if you don't win this.
It would be really bad.
You know, I'm really impressed. You're my mate. I know you well. You've committed to something for 34 weeks. That right there is an achievement, and you've been good at it. So that's pretty good.
I think that's why I've committed, because I've been good at it.
You've been really good at it. And the reason why I bring it up, you picked Ajax to beat Juventus, and we need to acknowledge that. We both had a sneaky feeling for Spurs, but you went out of the way and you just went, look, Ajax are going to beat Juve. And they did, and they wwere brilliant.
Yeah, they were absolutely brilliant. What a great side to watch. And I was actually hoping for this game in the quarterfinals, Ajax and Spurs, because I think it's a great matchup. I think two very exciting attacking sides who are, without sounding condescending, are really appreciative to be there, to be at this stage of the tournament. And so I think it'll be a great game, great semi-final. I love Ajax, KJ. It's pretty clear they have a number of extremely talented football players, but it's the mindset. It's a mindset of a football club, a way of playing that is just so refreshing, so it seems off the cuff, but just so creative and fun to watch. And I think I commented on my Twitter, I said something like, even when they make the wrong decisions, there's still a flamboyance and a panache to it, isn't there? You're sort of in love with this team.
There's
because
an innocence about it.
It is. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not you have a guy like Tadic who was pretty average in the Premier League, didn't look like he had a ton of ability. He looks fantastic for Ajax.
He does.
His creativity, the things that he's trying, you can't call him a young lad. He's pretty experienced, but he's went into this environment and he's took on what it means to play for Ajax, what it is to wear that shirt. He's came in with an exuberance and a freshness and added his little bit of quality and probably his little bit of experience to a Neres, Ziyech or ZH, I don't know what we call him now. We've called him 100 names as well.
We've done a lot of different ones, yeah.
Ziyech is a terrific player. Van den Beek is magnificent.
Yeah, our boy got the goal, didn't he?
Yeah, your guy KJ, you called him a while back.
Yeah.
He might just be the superstar to come out of this group in the next few years.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that. And you were well ahead of the scheme with him. We all like Frenkie de Jong, but this guy's some player, isn't he?
Oh boy, is he ever. Yeah, fun team, and sets up a great Final Four.
Jose Mourinho this week said he wouldn't be shocked if Ajax or Tottenham wins the Champions League. Mourinho obviously going out on a huge ledge, picking a finalist to potentially win. But how do you see
Sounds like Josie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But how do you see the last two rounds going?
All right. Well, before the brilliant predictor goes, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Why not? I'm going to go with a Barcelona-Tottenham final. What do you think about that one? I think Ajax have had a wonderful run, and maybe it will continue. But I think Tottenham matches up pretty well with them. Yeah, and look, I think Liverpool might be a better team than Barcelona, but this whole Premier League run-in is going to affect them. And Barcelona don't need. I mean, before the last game, they just played a whole second 11 in the league games. Yeah, I just wonder if it's going to be a massive game for them to come through it. So. And we've talked a lot on this podcast already about Barcelona just having that eye on the prize ever since August with this competition. Yeah,
I'm glad the matchup came with Ajax, Spurs, and Barcelona, Liverpool, because I think it's pretty much 50-50 both games. I'm really excited, and I think that Ajax or Spurs can beat Barcelona or Liverpool in the one-off final. I'm not so sure over two legs. Great point, so great games coming up. Like I said, 50-50 for me. I'm going to go Spurs. I'm with you, KJ. I just think they're going to have a bit more. And I think that it's a good matchup for them. I don't think the kind of football Ajax will scare them. They'll want to have a game with them, and they're more than capable of doing that. I'm with you as well. Liverpool are just a better team than Barcelona for me. There's one guy that plays for Barcelona. He's a pretty good player. He's called Messi, and he seems to me like he feels like this is his destiny. This is his crowning moment. I'm by no means retiring the man, but this is his moment. He's already won a couple, isn't he? 2 or 3, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, 4. I think. No?
Has he won 4?
He wasn't playing in the first one. Though. He got injured. Remember?
I'm thinking of the 2 that beat Manchester.
Yeah,
United.
09 and 11.
He pretty much won the game himself.
And then 09, 11, and then 15, right?
Right,
because they beat Juve in the final.
Of course, he beat Juve. So I'm thinking this is his one where he really wants it again. So I'm thinking Spurs Barca final.
It'll be fun, huh?
I'll be disappointed. I'll be shocked if Spurs. Sorry, Sean, but if Spurs.
Are you kidding? You don't need to apologise. He's just like, if you put this team in the Champions League final, he's going to be on the ceiling.
I picked them out in the round of 16, I'd be
you didn't
flying.
even know about the groups, mate. You're just the ultimate Spursy doom and gloomer over there. Which is fair. I always say, whenever your team's involved in something, never ask that person what you think, because they're just too emotionally. They just can't give you an educated answer. It's just impossible. If you're a real fan, you can't give an educated view, or you think, I'm going to win, I'm going to lose. All right, well, you've seen it through a different lens, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, completely. Kristian Ronaldo has become the first ever player to win Serie A, La Liga, and the Premier League. Does his success across multiple leagues improve his legacy, or is moving to the Italian giant like Juventus a bit of a bore at this point?
Oh, I'm so bored of it.
Bored,
really bored. Good for Ronaldo. Of course, was he ever not going to win the league? No. Come on. It's like they've won 8 in a row. I saw that they put out today, 8 in a row. Somebody on Twitter, I forget who it was, crowned the glory of this amazing run from Serie B to 8-time champions as if it's some kind of success. First of all, we know why you're in Serie B, okay? Do you really need me to keep going on that? We remember why you're in Serie B. And I'm sorry, but this is not something to be celebrated.
No.
This is a problem. Mm-hmm. It's a problem. Yeah. Napoli disappointed me in midweek.
Yeah.
Again, they were really poor.
They were.
Really poor. Talking about Europa League, by the way, against Arsenal. And the lack of success of these teams around them is an issue. And look, they're not going to win every league for the next 10, 15 years because that's just not the way it is. But right now, I'm sorry, it's a snooze fest.
Yeah, it is. It's really boring. And I'm not surprised in the slightest that Ronaldo's got a title with Juventus. We need the 2 Milans back, don't we, KJ? We need the Milans back. We need them back to full force, competing with Juventus. No disrespect to Napoli and Roma and the teams that have been consistent for a few years, but until the Milan starts spending money and competing with Juventus, this is going to be pretty boring in Serie A for a number of years.
MLS announced the plans to expand to 30 teams, with St. Louis and Sacramento in the driver's seats to be 28 and 29. What are your thoughts on the expansion news? And with the CPL launch, we shouldn't expect any other Canadian franchises, right?
No Canadian franchises. Dan Garber already has answered that a number of times, including one time when we were in Atlanta for MLS Cup. That was addressed again. So that's done. That's not going to happen. No more MLS franchises in Canada for a very, very long time. Maybe in MLS 3 when they've got 50 when we're long gone. I don't know. But you've been a big proponent of this for a long time. You've seen this coming for a long time. Whether it's St. Louis or Sacramento, it's clear 28 and 29 is coming. 30 won't be long after that.
Yeah.
And then I guess after that, it just comes down to how they're going to break these up, because I saw some people write these conferences, or some people wrote these 4 divisions as if it's hockey. Just honestly, I think I threw up in my mouth when I saw these 4 divisions, and it just gives me a headache. Anyway, you know my thoughts on this. Please, promotion, relegation, get it done with. Stop fighting with it. Get with the rest of the world. That's my point. But 30 teams, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm glad they're going to more teams. I just worry about is MLS ready for the dilution of more expansion franchises because of the quality within the league. I still think the academies are too far behind. There's not enough good players, so you just dilute the talent in the US and in Canada. St. Louis, Sacramento, I guess they deserve franchises. Pretty good market. Sacramento's been strong for a number of years. 200 million for a franchise is a lot of money. Having to put a stadium there, 200 million, buy some players to create enough of a buzz. You're $500 million. in already for an owner. So you're looking for owners with deep pockets that want this for the long haul, that can afford to lose a lot of money for a number of years. And the reason that we don't have any news on 30 is because they're going to ask for 250 million for the 30th franchise or something like that. Yeah. So that's what the delay is. That's why this is just seeping out bit by bit, because they want the most money. On paper, I think it's good. I think when we get to a point where we've got East and West and better competition, it might be good for the league, KG.
Yeah, maybe we can stop these crazy flights all the time, because some of these travel schedules is not fair for some of these teams. So maybe we can have like one division in the East, one division in the West, and then maybe only play them in the playoffs. Who knows?
Well, you go on about your 1 and 2, and I'm totally with you. It would be great. I think if they have 1 and 2 and they release some of the CBA stuff and they make it charter flights, and we're going to see a genuine 1 and 2, because we're going to see the teams that want to spend the money to do things properly, recruit players
already, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Have you watched Colorado? They're MLS 3,
but within a really tight rule restriction.
Yeah,
so if you actually open that up and you start saying a bit more of a free for all, I'm not suggesting there'll be no salary cap or anything like that. I just mean some of the crazy rules that MLS has. If they start to loosen, you get the Seattles and the NYCs and the LAFCs, TFC doing what they want, there will clearly be a much bigger gap than we're even seeing at the moment. And we need that, because we need the franchises that are not holding their own and pulling their weight. We need them to either get out, the owners to get out, or to start spending.
Mm-hmm. And that, by the way, is exactly what MLS want. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're not saying it. No. That is exactly. You could have been working for MLS right there when you said that.
Talking about spending lots of money, in an interview earlier this week, Taylor Twellman told Extra Time Radio to keep an eye on Robert Lewandowski to Chicago in 2020. Obviously, this is a no-brainer for Chicago, but do you think this rumor has legs?
Well, Lewandowski's still got legs.
I was going to say this rumour of legs when Lewandowski loses his
right now, so maybe he won't come because he's still got his legs.
Yeah,
but he'll be here soon. I'm not sure about 2020, but obviously Taylor's pretty well connected. But at this point, Lewandowski's 30. He's going to get paid. He'd have to get paid a ton of money. Polish community, by the way, is big. Chicago,
big in Chicago.
It's important to note.
Be a great signing for them.
It would be a great signing, but is there anywhere else in Europe that it might want him first? This guy's one of them premium strikers in world football still.
Yeah, this guy can go anywhere if he wants to leave Bayern Munich. And I mean anywhere in the world at the moment. He's still a terrific football player, and he's got too much football to go to MLS, I think. But this always comes down to a lifestyle choice, doesn't it? This guy's won everything in the game. He's played a lot of football. He's scored hundreds of goals. Does he feel like, I'll have another little challenge? I'll live in a brilliant city like Chicago or Miami, or he'll have his choice of MLS clubs as well. Where do I want to go? And do I want it just to be a bit more a lifestyle choice and a little bit of football, or do I still want to go to Premier League and sign for Manchester United or potentially Juventus or whoever we could go on Real Madrid, Barcelona? Everybody's going to want this guy, KJ. He's unbelievable. He's still got a lot of football, not MLS anytime soon for me.
He'd score goals for fun if he came
Can you imagine?
Oh my goodness.
1 week left, guys. The CPL is just around the corner, and they announced a 10-game broadcast partnership with CBC Television for this season. 1 week away. What are your thoughts on the inaugural kickoff?
I just can't wait to start talking about games. What about you? And players. We don't really know enough about them at this moment.
Don't know anything.
And they've had a preseason where it was very little information was divulged in terms of that. And as a person who likes to talk about the game, that's what excites me, is let's start watching the football and talking about these players and talking about what really is the selling point of any league in the world.
Yeah, it's been pretty secretive. We don't know enough about these teams, these players, and so we want the actual competition, the games to start, so that we can start learning about players and seeing about teams and the way they're going to play and the way they're going to shape up and what's exciting about different markets. So that's what I'm most excited about, KJ. I'm with you. It's just been a bit secretive, a bit too many details is held back, which I don't like, and that to me is maybe a bit of a concern. I just want to see these teams play, and we can start to work out who's good and who's not.
And next time we do a show, we can talk about actual games.
Yeah, the big game.
They're there. So thank you to Shawnee for our headlines. We're still asking you to send in your Premier League best 11. Thanks so much for sending them in. If you haven't sent in yours yet, send them in via Twitter by using hashtag AskAFP, and you will have a chance to win some KJ and Caldwell merch. And why wouldn't you want to win that? Shawnee, what is the best from this week?
So we're starting to see a pattern in a lot of these players, and obviously when you're talking about best 11, that's not a shocker. William Jameson sent in his best 11. He has Allison in the net, Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Laporte, and Robertson in the back line, with Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, and Ramsey in the middle, and Sterling, Aguero, and Hazard.
It's best one so far, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's pretty strong,
it's
isn't
very
it?
good, isn't it? I mean, I've got a question about maybe one or two.
Who?
But other than
What's
that...
the one or two?
Well, Ramsey's out. Ramsey's out. He's not in my top
goalkeeper.
3 teams of the year. Goalkeeper, potentially. I could think of maybe one other one that may go there. But yeah, other than that, like, I look at that team. William, you've ticked all the boxes, mate. You've got some of the best players in the Premier League. It's a proper team. You can see it on the field.
You're happy with Bernardo Silva in the midfield?
I don't mind that.
Yeah,
he's played there. He's played there.
Just checking, because I know you get really you're being your bonnet about the fact there's too many attacking players.
Do I? Is that how it comes across? I'm really upset now. No, I'm not. I don't really care about that. But really, Bernardo Silva has played there. I can actually see him already operating between the lines a little bit. And basically telling Aaron Ramsey, go sit down. You shouldn't be on the field. But other than Rambo, it's fine. Maybe William's Welsh.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's got a little bit of a special affiliation for Ramsey, which is fine. You know, you're allowed your own little players in there in special times as well. But look, if we don't think he should be there, we'll still call him out. But it's a good team. I'm enjoying that, and Williams done well there. He's probably on the pole position for some key merch, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? Over to Shawnee for hashtag AskAFP.
Murphy asks, thoughts on rumors of Thierry Henry to take over as Red Bull's next manager?
Yeah, this seems to talking about legs. This seems to be pretty. This has got some legs for sure. Henry obviously had a disaster in Monaco, and Chris Armas has struggled a little bit with the Red Bulls after last season. Who knew? Last season, some of the season, record-setting 71 points, Supporters' Shield, and already a difficult start. So, I guess the only thought I would have is that, is the mutual interest there, or who's the ones who wants it more? Yeah. At this point, because I think Henry would recognise that after a complete unmitigated disaster that he isn't going to get any big jobs in Europe anytime soon. No. So maybe this is coming from him a little bit more than the team. Yeah, maybe. I know he loved his time in New York City, so I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to come back over to this part of the world. And he definitely needs to reinvent himself as a manager after a disaster at Monaco, where everything that could possibly have went wrong, player unrest, no results, didn't look like a coach was there for everyone to see. So big risk for me for Henry to come to the Red Bulls. I just think that this next one for him is crucial if he really genuinely wants to be a manager, head coach for a number of years. So any job he takes is a risk then? Of course, but I think there's less risk. It would be safer to pick somewhere in Europe. And I know he's not getting a big job, but he can pick a job, Championship, difficult. I'm not suggesting it's not, but the mentality of the player, even although he played in MLS, he probably resonates with that type of player more. Potentially a Belgian league or something like that. To me, a bit of success somewhere like that gets him up quicker than coming to the Red Bulls to an environment that's still extremely difficult. He had problems with the players at Monaco. Well, big problems, he's probably going to have big problems with the players at Red Bulls if he's going to get frustrated with the lack of quality and lack of understanding. Stop kicking the ball in the stands. First of all, if you missed that, you may want to go check that. No, but you make a good point. Yeah, so I just don't know, KJ. I just I think he'd need to win MLS Cup to come back to Europe if that's what he wants and get a decent job. I just don't know. He'd have to do really well. Yeah. Like the Patrick Vieira kind of thing, like that kind of path. Finally, thing on Henry. I know you and I watch a lot of Sky Sports. He does all those Renault Clio adverts, doesn't he? Yeah. And there's that one that always tickles me. Like he's driving around and he's like hearing all the fans talk about it. And he goes, "Everyone's a manager." I'm like, "You're not." They keep playing it. He got sacked. He goes, "Everyone's a manager." I'm like, "You did that way before you even thought you'd be a manager." Doesn't look good on poor Thierry right now. But look, no, be interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one, Shawnee.
Friend of the pod and my former boss Peter Kelly asks, suppose you're Liverpool and suppose you lose the Prem to Man City by 1 point. Who's the one signing you pursue to make sure you have the edge in the next season?
Wow. I don't think they'd make many. I think listening to Klopp, if they got to 97 points and lost, I think he'd be like, you know what, boys, play again next season, do exactly this, we'll win it.
Yeah.
One player I would go with, thinking about how slow it's taken Keita to get in there. I think they'd like to, they haven't really done this much, but buy a player from a Premier League club.
Yeah.
Already. What about Ruben Neves?
Be a good player.
Someone like that.
Yeah, excellent football player, a player that they like. He's been on the radar for a while. I definitely could see him coming. A player that wouldn't necessarily have to start every week, but I think Klopp could turn him into like that. What I always say, that good player to go to great. He could go to another level, and then suddenly, sorry, Jordan, but like he's been nice serving, but like this guy's a different level. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ruben Neves is a different level from Jordan Henderson or Milner.
He can push forward a little bit. Yeah, can play at the base as well.
Excellent player. I think. Maybe a bit crazy thing to say, but I think he's got way more potential than he's shown at Wolves, even though he's been excellent. I think this guy can be asked or for Klopp to demand more from his game. I still think he's playing. I think he can be a bit of a box-to-box guy, KG, and get more goals and stuff like that. But I'm not certain he's the type of player, the X factor that they really need if they're just going to be short. I think they need a Bernardo Silva type player. And I'm going to say someone maybe quite outrageous here, but potentially the return of Coutinho.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I think they need that type of player, someone that can open a door. Now, does he come back into the same prestige and role that he had before? No, I doubt it, but he could be a player that could open the door. I still think there's a place for Coutinho, and I think it's in the Premier League. I think he's a wonderful player, lost his way at Barcelona. He's in the shadow of greater players, some of the greatest players of their generation. And so I think coming back to the Premier League, if I was Liverpool, I'd be inquiring. I don't know what the number would be, but I'd be thinking about that. And if I was Man United and Chelsea, I'd also be thinking about Coutinho as well.
I think he'll go to United, but there's also Gareth Bale out there as well. Gareth Bale's going to come back to the Premier League somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think so.
But do you think he would unsettle that three, the magnificent
I don't think he'll go to Liverpool. I just think.
You think Man U?
I don't know. I think Coutinho might go to Man U.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe Bale will go back to Tottenham.
Gianpaolo was wondering, why is there such an issue with Italian clubs in Europe? Is it simply a talent issue, mentality? And do you think that there's a renaissance in the future?
Well, I've always wondered why they don't do better, and their record in the Europa League now, which obviously used to be the UEFA Cup, over the last few years has been nothing short of woeful. And again, I expressed my frustration with Napoli earlier, really frustrated with them. Last year we did the game when they got knocked out by Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah, it was Leipzig.
Timo Werner, so they consistently underachieve. I'm not really sure what the issue would be. Maybe it is a bit of a talent issue, but I don't know. It's just... some of these, I don't know, this could be a generalization, so I'm really hesitant. But when I watch teams like Lazio or Napoli, these are often the periphery, or Roma, I feel like the atmosphere inside the stadium is really poor.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you and I were talking today. We both separately watched Eintracht Frankfurt on Thursday night. Benfica. That is a European hostile environment.
It's great, wasn't it?
And when I watch these Italian environments, I'm thinking some of these teams who go there, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they're worried.
It's not hostile anymore.
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's talent as well, KG. Yeah. I still think they're behind the truly top teams in European football. I also think, again, a bit of a generalisation. I'm by no means an absolute expert on Italian football, but I still think their football is just a little bit negative to win these top European trophies. We spoke all show the theme's been fine margins at this level, and it is fine margins, and the brave teams usually prosper at this level, and I don't see enough brave teams coming out of Italy at the moment.
Another friend of the pod, Sean from Toronto asks, with three matches
I wonder
left,
who Sean is.
with 3 matches left in the championship, with Leeds and Sheffield United all squared for the second automatic promotion spot, KJ, how badly do you want to play Sheffield at Wembley in the playoff final?
9 wins in a row, mate, Villa.
It's phenomenal.
9 wins in a row. I had TalkSport on Friday. I was listening to TalkSport. That was good. Yeah, Sheffield United in the final. That would be pretty good. I think we'd win.
I think you'd win as well.
Everyone's getting a little bit cocky a bit. I'm a bit concerned now because, like, wasn't that long ago, like, we're not that good, and now everyone's like, no one wants to play Villa, no one wants to play Villa, and I don't like that because competition's very different. The season ends, you know better than me. Playoff starts, different feeling, but there is something to be said about momentum. The biggest concern is Leeds. They just bottled it at home to Wigan, and as we've said, Bielsa's teams have a bit of a history with that, the drop off. So, big games coming up, but it's a great time of year.
The one thing I worried about with you guys was you were peaking too early. But 9 in a row, how many to go? 4 or 5?
By the time you probably listen to this one,
yeah,
2,
Monday,
3.
right. Okay,
3 games to go.
So momentum is absolutely everything heading into playoffs. I make Villa favourites against anybody.
Yeah.
If they keep it up, assuming they don't go and lose 3 games, if they keep it up and they keep on this run, they are going to be out and out favourites with the size of football club that they are, the players that they've got, the way that they're playing. To me, against anybody,
I'm already
favourites.
getting nervous, lads. But playing West Brom in the semis would be nice. After they cheated their way against us with a J-Rod handball earlier this season. Do you remember that? The hand of Rod?
I can't remember the hand of Rod.
Just punched the ball in the net.
Well, we cursed West Bromwich Albion when we said that they were our team to maybe sneak into second.
Yeah,
and they just went on a sacked the manager, and they're coming back a little bit. There'll be a challenge.
I like the curses. I picked West Brom to go up.
Hopefully, I need to say this so that it's on record. Hopefully Sheffield United bottle it just because I want to see Wildman's face on that day.
Because he has become insufferable again. He's not listening.
Chris asks, how much money do you think Spurs can get for Sonny, and where do you think the best fit for him is, skill set wise?
Tottenham. That's the best fit skill set wise. How much money could you get? Oh my goodness, like 150 million?
Yeah.
That's how good he is. He's got everything, and he modern day forward. By the way, talk about the wide players. He can do. He's more than that. And he
plays everywhere.
Plays everywhere. Supremely fit by all accounts. Saw a great interview with Kyle Walker this week about how difficult it was to lose. But it's like some of my mates, I'm so happy they're in the semis, and like he says, Sonny's like the best guy you can ever meet in football.
He looks it, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
Every interview,
it's amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I hope they keep hold of him. It's funny how these conversations change. You know, there's this guy called Harry Kane. No one's talking about.
Yeah, I know. Nobody cares.
No one cares. Because by the way, Lucas Moura's been brilliant too.
Yeah. What was that, a week and a half ago, everyone was doom and gloom Harry Kane's ankle. Now nobody cares. Some people are saying Spurs play better without Harry Kane, which is just ridiculous. That's I'm
sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks the same when he's on the phone.
Son is a wonderful player. He's 2-footed. He has pace. He has the attitude. He can play wide. He can play centre forward. He tracks back. Oh, he's brilliant. I'd love Spurs to keep him because I do want to see this team build, and I want to see them spend in the summer. Please spend on 3 or 4 players because they'll be very close if they do.
Speaking on building from success, Tim asks, this Ajax side is inevitably going to be disassembled this summer. If they could keep together, how good could this team be in comparison to traditional top European sides?
Well, the best if they're given time to work to play together and develop their relationships. But as Tim alludes to, it's just never going to happen. You know, they're aware of themselves in the position of the pyramid of football, and as like I always say, there's teams above them, and they're going to come down and they're just going to handpick their talent. But you're going to make sure you get a ton of money for these guys because they'll continue to use that money elsewhere. But there's probably 6 or 7 of them that could go this summer.
Ton of money. They're going to get. Don't want to put a number on it, but hundreds and hundreds of millions.
De Ligt's probably going to Barca now.
De Ligt's gone. Van den Beek, Neres, Ziyech is incredible. Yep. He's going to go somewhere as well. The fullbacks, Mazraoui, he's a brilliant player. I could go on and on. They're an amazing team. They are going to be disassembled because that is the model of the football club. And right now, there's a 10-year-old kid who's going to be the new Frankie de Jong. and he's coming to Ajax because he knows he's going to get his opportunity at 18 to play in that first team, and that's why they're the best academy in the world. That's why this works, because it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how close they are to winning Champions Leagues or being successful year after year. They're always going to sell on the talent. They've got a conveyor belt waiting to come into the team, and it's just perfect at the way they do it. And I love how they stick to the model. They never go away from it, and it's just incredible. Other teams should look at it. I can't believe there's more teams in Europe that don't try and emulate this model, KJ.
Absolutely.
Last question, and thanks everyone for sending them in. Michael asks, with the obvious caveat of Piatti's absence, which player in the Impact's 11 is most needs to be replaced to this team to improve?
Wow. Well, you and I have talked a lot about this as well. We have a lot of discussions. Azira probably, yeah. Back to my point earlier about TFC technicians. Taider has been inconsistent, has actually played in a front three sometimes as well to try and provide a little bit of attacking unit, but they need, and Piat does a great job at the base, but Azira's a runner. He's a Delgado, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I'm loath saying it, KJ, because he's such an honest player.
He's a good player.
He is, and I don't want to have a
job to get him.
He's actually been really good for the Impact this year. But I'm with you. If they want to get better, they need to get better in the midfield. But I'm going to call out Taider a little bit because he's been disappointing.
Off at half time.
Yeah, quality player who's been really disappointing in the few games that I've seen him recently. And I'm hoping on Wednesday night when we do New England against Montreal Impact on TSN that I'm going to see more from him, a reaction. If you're an experienced player on the type of money and that Taider's on, you expect more. You've been subbed at half time. Now, are you going to react? Are you going to sulk, or are you going to show your manager, I'm going to show you that I'm not happy about that? So I'm going to call out Taider. I'm not suggesting he should be replaced, but need more from him. What else? Ruti, they need more from him as well.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. Azira's a guy that they need to replace.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Start to get a little bit more, I don't know, a bit smarter in their evaluation processes and trying to get recruitment better a little bit as well. They've got some good defenders. Maybe they'll trade one of them to get somebody else with more quality.
That would be smart.
They have got quite a lot of abundance of defenders, but we'll see how they go. Thanks, Shawnee, and thanks to everybody to send in your hashtag AskAFP questions. There were a lot this week. We didn't get to all of them. We will get to some more as the shows go on. And as always, thank you for listening. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. I'll say it again. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We are going to start reading them on air, so send them in. Ernie B says, no week is complete until I listen to this podcast. KJ and Stephen are amongst the best in the biz, along with Luke, of course. No, you're wrong about that. But thanks for the comments about us two. Never realized how much I still had to learn about the game until this. I'm really expanding my knowledge. Tremendous job. Thanks, Ernie. We appreciate the kind words. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to Shawnee. Thanks to Clay. Happy Easter, everybody, and we'll speak to you